Out with us today. We are in the studio with Gerald Patterson, Bishop Gerald Patterson, and the crew. This is Life Lessons Live Let's Talk edition, right here on WKIU 95.1, the Kingdom Broadcasting Network, where we create unity, we build relationships, and we empower people. You guys make sure to know that you can call in at any time. That number is 662-620-1940. And the views and the opinions expressed during this broadcast are the views and the opinions of the host. That would be all of us, and not necessarily the views and the opinions of the First United Christian Church or the Kingdom Broadcasting Network. Bishop?
Amen, amen. Listen, we are glad to be in the studio with you once again for Life Lessons Live, Let's Talk edition. And I have the crew with me. And these guys, as I tell you every week, are amazing young people that have, experiencing life, applying principles they've learned. And what I love about them, they are what I call hot, honest, open, and transparent.
Come on.
And they are literally showing how they have applied principles they've taught, relationship that they have with Christ in their life, and have helped them to navigate through many situations and circumstances they have in their life. So I wanted them to let you know we're going to be talking about how to be successful in the workplace once again, talking about relationship dynamics. We may get into some personality traits and things of that nature, and just different tools, different things we find out. What are some of the reasons why? We talking before the show. Sometimes it's just a condition of the heart. So we're going to talk today, and we want to get, again, as Monique told you, we love for you to join in. This is a no judgment zone, okay? And we want everybody to take part. So listen, these guys introduced themselves and let everybody know who's in the studio with us today. Amen.
Good evening, everyone. This is Laura Ivy.
Good afternoon. It's Brandon Haley in the building.
And we got G. Patterson in the building.
Hey guys, Stephanie Monique.
All right. And again, so how do you all, have success in the workplace? You guys have been working. You work with people all of the time. We talked about the different four types of people, categories you can put people in, the multiplier, the adder, the subtractor, the divider. Okay, you guys talked so powerfully about that last week. So in your meditation on this week and different things that you have encountered or experienced, what just kind of came up with you still dealing with it? Because Brandon, you came in and you started talking about, man, we need to talk about that some more. I think you had some stuff going on. Of course, we don't mention names and all those different types of things, but just different real life situations that are going on, because that's the reality of life lessons. This is real situations that people are going through on a day-to-day basis. How do you practically apply principles, the Word of God, your relationships you have with other people in order that you might have success? So what's on your heart, Brandon?
Well, I think that I feel like we do have to be aware that it takes work to be able to do accordingly and work accordingly in a work environment.
Okay.
And I mean, it's something that you don't just all of a sudden, it doesn't all of a sudden happen. Like, you have to apply certain principles, certain rules. You have to have good character. You got to be humble. There's a lot of things that come into play into being successful in the work area. So I think that it's definitely a conversation that needs to be had.
Okay.
Because it doesn't always happen that way.
Okay. Anyone else add some more today?
Definitely just, you have to know yourself as well. When you're talking about going in the workplace, and recognize your strengths and weaknesses. Recognize where, like Brandon said, definitely be humble in everything and know that, okay, I don't know everything. We're part of a team. There's no I in team.
Okay.
And, be willing to add to the team. What can you bring to the table to add to the team? And, be there to learn as well.
Okay, that's good.
And I would like to add, this might be a little off topic. I'm going to use a movie to make my point. But just as, like, when we looking at adders and dividers and stuff like that, like, we have to make sure that we're not moved by what we see. A lot of times people can be an adder but not have that appearance that you have in your mind that an adder should look like. And I want to use the example of the family that prayed. That man that was homeless was an adder to that woman's establishment when he was coming in. He was homeless. She had to help him take a bath and get him to help him shave. I see a lot of people are adders, but they've never had nobody to invest in them. He was an adder and she was investing into her adder. He didn't have nobody to invest in him. So he was still an adder, and at the end, come to find out, he was giving her information that made her a millionaire and him one too.
Right, because he was an investor.
Right. He was an investor. She, right, a multiplier.
Awesome.
Good.
Awesome.
I was just gonna say that I think that it's important for when you talk about, you know, working in the office, marketplace, stuff like that, you know, being personally developed, having good communication skills and all of that good stuff. Like we've been talking about how to be how not to operate in a critical spirit.
Okay.
And so, you know, not pointing the blame, not being judgmental, you know, being mature enough to be able to explain, you know, what you think, how you feel. So having good communication skills, cognitive skills, you know, all of those things play a part in it, you know. And when you operate, it's easy to operate in a critical spirit because you want so much for people to do right and do the right thing. And then before you know it, you know, you're caught up in your emotions and your feelings, and then you become critical. Not so much as you started out or you intended to be that way, but it's like your heart is so overwhelmed and you know which way you're supposed to go, you know. And so just being able to correlate that, being able to really help and being able to stay in a vein where you are humble and you're praying and you're getting that insight. And really that's what it boils down to, is you being able to pray and get the insight, allow God to help you, you know, to balance you so that you can be what you need to be for the team, for your family, for the ministry, for the marketplace, all that good stuff.
Okay, so what I hear you saying, because I hear you talk about prayer, I hear y'all talking about being humble, I hear you talking about seeing other people's value, and when you say that, you all kind of all tied into relationship with God helps people to know how to do these types of things and to be able to do this. And so, Gerald, you were saying something a little earlier about the condition of your heart. You know, talk maybe a little bit about that, about, you know, because I heard you saying somebody today, you was testifying that, you know, you got to really keep your heart in a good place in order to handle people and be, you know, have good chemistry with people.
Yeah. Well, you know, first off, you know, I'm a servant in what I do. I consider myself serving others. You know, no matter if I'm an employee or an employer, I consider myself a servant to the people, to my customers as well as my employees and things of that nature. So when I'm in it, I have to make sure my heart's in the right place. Is, you know, dealing with people like Monique was talking about earlier with emotions. You know, I have to take myself out of how I would want to do something, and a lot of times I have to revert back on, you know, what's God's purpose for me being here, and keeping it purposeful, and knowing that, you know, I'm here to serve the customer, even though I might have you know, we deal with, in the marketplace, you deal with people sometimes that you just can't help. You know what I mean? You know, you have some customers that might get upset with you, get unruly with you, and things of that nature. You have people that try to abuse you in the marketplace, take advantage of you, and things of that nature. And in those times, you know, when I'm feeling a little taken advantage of and things like that, natural human response is to react, instead of, you know, be proactive in a matter, or say, you know, okay, God, I know that you have a bigger picture for me for why I'm helping this individual. So, you know, I can't let what they've done change my purpose in being in the marketplace and in my purpose of serving. I can't let somebody else's attitude or somebody else's, you know, misunderstanding or, you know, willing to take advantage of change me and change my servant's heart.
Right.
And when I feel myself getting away, because it's a struggle, just being honest, it's a struggle every day that I have to work on, We start out really, really high and on a really, really positive note. But as you interact with people, sometimes the momentum can get slowed down because, your emotions get involved and your heart gets pricked. But in those times, that's when I have to, and this is what having a relationship with Jesus does for me, is when I rely back on what He's called me to do,
Right.
and the purpose that I know of why I'm doing what I'm doing. Then I can keep my heart in a place where it doesn't get breached, and I can continue to serve. And I might lose one or two along the way, but I can continue to serve people as a whole and continue to get up every day with purpose and do what I'm sent to do. So I don't. That's about as clear as I can be on that. Just make sure that your heart is in the right place, because you're gonna encounter people who kind of throw you off a little bit, get you in a place of anger, get you in a place that you don't want to help anymore. You might want to just tell them to go about their business in the nicest way possible. But you have to keep that service heart, and that's how I do it, is by relying back on what God has put me in place to do.
Right.
So.
I just want to say to that is so powerful that you say that, because it's almost as if we on the seesaw together, because God was telling me the same thing. He was like, when you're dealing with people, you got to get to the point to where you love people the way I love people. And this is what God is saying to me.
Yeah.
And I'm saying, but God, I am loving them. He said, no, you're loving them the way you want to love them.
Wow.
You need to love them the way I love them. And so, He brought to my spirit, man, the story of Moses, how Moses cared for the people, how he was the mediator. See, we have to remember, as born again believers, whatever position you rock, wherever you are a mediator for you. You stand in the gap. We're talking about intercession. We talked about prayer, types of prayer, that's intercession. You stand in the gap between the people and between God. And so you have to be able to stand and go before God and pray. Call those things that be not as though they were. You see things. The reason why you see it is because you've been reading the word of God. So you know what it's supposed to be. The deception is falling off your eyes. You don't have the lens of everybody else now. You have God's eyes now. So you see more injustice. You see more stuff that's wrong rather than right, because you know what to do with it now.
Right.
And so he was saying, why are you not saying what you need to say? Why are you not calling people into their destiny, into their purpose? And I was like, wow. So he brought to me the story of Moses, Samuel, Jeremiah. And I was like, man, oh my goodness. I'm telling you, because Bishop made a statement last week, he said, let God share with you the good, the bad, and the ugly. We always ready for the good. Come on now. You're ready for God to tell you something good. But when he starts sharing the bad and the ugly, you be like, wait a minute now, hold up. You get a little nervous. And so, and then to say that, so that was good, because that's where God has had me, conditioning my heart for where I'm supposed to be and where I'm going. The conditioning of your heart, keeping your heart pure, clean hands, all that good stuff. And then when you were talking, I still heard the law of navigation. Leaders chart the course. Anybody can steer, but you are responsible for charting the course as to where your business is going, where your family is going, where your ministry is going. And so, we're responsible for those things. I know I said a lot, but
And then what comes to my mind too is just like in Matthew 6:33, when he tells us, to seek him first, his kingdom and his righteousness, and all these things shall be added unto you. And when we hear that scripture, a lot of times people think about things. They think about stuff and money, but that also means your deliverance is going to come, your confidence is going to come, your healing will come. All these things shall be added unto you. And so that just took me back to that. So what he has shown me about myself, and so, the deliverance comes as well. When you're seeking him, it's going to come. And what he's been showing me is my selfish ways that I didn't even realize was selfish, because I've been doing it for so long. It's my norm.
Come on, wow.
It's normal behavior to me, but my normal behavior is selfish. And so I just thank God for revealing me to myself so I can overcome selfish ways, but it's just time to create a new norm.
That's good. That's
Through the word of God.
Yeah.
Amen.
One thing that stuck out was you said something about being a mediator. My dad always says, that we're ambassadors of Christ.
Yes.
And that's one thing that's important about being in the workplace. An ambassador, like the United States ambassador, they're the face of the United States in
Come
a
on.
foreign
That's good.
country.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
The
So
representation.
yeah. So when we're in the
Mhm.
workplace, you know, that's how we need to think of ourselves.
on.
Like in the workplace, I'm the light in that place.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? And people follow that. People look for light.
But a lot of times, you know, we get it backwards. We go and we conform to the
Yep.
workplace
Wow.
Yep.
instead of being the light, being the change. And you know, for people who don't understand what we're talking about, you know, first you have to find out your purpose. You know, and the only way that you can do that is by having a relationship with Christ and getting in the Word of God and realizing what He said about you. But once you get to that arena, a lot of times people find out or they have a sense of what they're called to do or a purpose in their life, but they still conform to the different environments that they come in. And that's what Brandon's talking about is being the light, being the change agent in the workplace. A lot of times we deal with things, we become frustrated and we get angry, we let things upset us because we're not walking in the area that we need to walk in. Instead, we're conforming, trying to do things, go against the grain and go against the things that God has had us do. And that's why we're struggling. That's why we're frustrated.
Yeah.
You know, so that's very good, man.
That's good.
That is
Yeah.
good. And when you're working in the workplace like that, and when you get to that point to where you say, well, everybody else is doing it, what's the point? Because that's what happens. You get overwhelmed because you think, well, who am I? How can I change,
Yeah.
this? And they've been doing it like this for years. One thing that you can always bank on, and I'm telling you, you take this check to the bank, it will cash.
Come on.
You must be the change that you are willing to see.
Okay.
So it starts with you.
Mhm.
If you will be
That's
consistent
real,
and if you will apply the word, some things, Bishop helped me last week. He said some things are caught rather than taught. But how can people catch it if you're not doing it?
Right.
So if you will be consistent, if you will continue to pray, if you will continue to have a good attitude, be joyous, spread light. Sometimes you don't even have to, pull out a scripture. By you just being, who you are, smiling, having peace, having joy, and loving on others and doing what you need to do, with a good attitude.
It's contagious.
That is contagious. And then you'll start seeing it change. And you'll start seeing people say, hey, how are you like that all the time? They'll ask you questions and they'll begin to seek. And then, the door is open. And guess what? When you're doing that, you're changing the environment.
So if good attitudes are contagious, is bad attitudes contagious?
Yeah, they are. Yes.
They
They're
catch
easy to
quicker.
catch.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was
It's
just going to
like
say
the
that.
flu.
Yeah. You
You
catch
know,
them quicker.
Yep. That's true.
Okay.
Yeah.
That is awesome. That is awesome. When you start thinking, I heard words like chemistry. You got to have good chemistry. And you got to see something bigger than what you presently. You're talking about purpose. Why I exist. Why am I here? Because if you don't even know why you're there, then we already have a problem like that. And so that takes part as you said, Gerald, if you don't have a relationship with God, you don't understand how He's wired you or why He has you doing what you're doing. And I hear you talk about in your business, I'm there to serve people in a number of ways. I do this as a business, but many times, man, I'm talking to someone, I'm smiling, I'm encouraging someone, doing a whole lot of different types of things, isn't that right? Yeah. So share just, sometimes when things aren't going right, what do you do?
Well, first you have to pinpoint why it's not going right. I believe.
Mm-hmm.
I believe that when something's going wrong, it's a problem, and problems need to be solved.
Mm-hmm.
So, first realize what got off track, what changed to cause the problem, and then you can figure out the solution. One thing you don't do is add to the problem. No.
Right.
And there are many ways that you can add to the problem by having a bad attitude or a negative attitude. B, joining in on the negative conversation. You just flying it at that point. Instead of saying, hey, instead of why is everybody messed up or angry about the schedule, why don't we figure out what happened to the schedule that got everybody angry? For an example, instead of saying, they changed this on the workplace, now we have to learn a new skill. Well, why? Is it because they're changing product? Is it because, there's always a solution or a reason for something when it comes up. It doesn't just come out of thin air. And a lot of times people react versus being proactive.
Right.
And you know, everybody, you get one negative Nancy that'll start speaking up, and then boom, he get
Negative Nancy.
he get jealous Joe. So jealous Joe.
Jealous Joe.
You know, grab all these other you know, angry people, angry Adam, and all that. You know, you put names to all these
And
things.
crazy Christy.
And crazy Christy. Crazy. So Christy get everybody bumped and turned,
right.
you know, and now the whole workplace got a revolt on their hands.
Wow.
You know, and then everybody losing their job. You know, but all of that can be avoided with the proper leadership, with the proper, you know, communication skills. I think is most important. You know, people don't communicate these days. You know, even on the workplace. You know, I remember when I was in retail. You know, I worked a job for 5.5 years, and I knew that I brought something to the table. We were only a crew of about 8 or 9 people, and you know, I knew that I brought, you know, fun. I was the fun guy. You know, everybody wanted to work with me. You know, because we had fun on my shift. You know, I never was, you know, dogmatic. You know, things like that. I like things to be a certain way. But when things would arise, you know, people would always come to me for advice, or, you know, how do you feel about this? And I knew just from being taught leadership over the years and things like that, I can either add to the problem by you know, joining in on the negative, or I can shine light on the positive, be the change agent. You know, and I was just little old me. So, you know, being prepared, you know when somebody's coming to you on a negative tip. You know, we all know.
Yeah.
It's a matter of your heart, and it's a matter of your personality, whether you want to join in or not. Me personally, I'm not for the negativity. You know, I don't like problems. I don't like negativity and things. So when people come to me with that, I try to deter that, you know, and say, hey, well, maybe you need to look at it this way instead of joining in. And that was something I had to grow into, you know, because I used to just get sucked into the negative. And then I realized I didn't like being a part of the negative.
Exactly.
You know, so, but, you know, using common sense, you know, and knowing, okay, why is this person even coming to me with this? You know, you over there, you enjoy your job, you a star employee, you work on time every day, you're doing this, but then one bad seed can come and ruin all of that. You know, so knowing who you are and knowing what you bring to the table, I think is also important.
Okay.
That's awesome.
That's good.
I don't know if I made a point there, but I'm trying to.
You did.
Oh, that's good. I want to throw something out there. A lot of times people, you know, personalities. We start talking about chemistry, personality, and personality comes through a lot of things. But the main thing we need to understand is people's temperament. You know, and you know, temperament is the part of man that determines how we react to people, places, and things. Okay, and sometimes we don't know what a temperament is, and to be able to have chemistry amongst a team, a staff of workers, or whatever it may be even a family. You need to understand people's temperaments, and that's, you know, your temperament determines what motivates you. It determines how open you are to love and affection from others.
How well you take correction.
How well you take correction determines how we handle stress and pressures. Some temperaments don't handle stress and pressure as well. But I want to encourage everybody, every temperament has its strength, its strong points, and its weaknesses. But through God and the Holy Spirit, it balances us all out. Okay? Yeah, have y'all ever talked about temperaments or personality traits and things of that nature?
I have.
You have? Yeah, well, let's talk about them just a minute, because, you know, one temperament is called choleric. There are some combinations, but the main four is choleric. And that choleric person, and you have people that some are extroverted, some are introverted, okay? And it has to do with their temperament. And sometimes an introverted person you may be taken as being weak, but that's just their temperament, okay? An extroverted person, they loud, you know, they don't, sometimes they can do a lot of different things, a lot of different ways. You need to know this about people. And I say this all the time, diversity embraces, unity achieved. But when you don't know different types of things, and like you said, Gerald, sometimes they don't even know why they behave the way that they do, okay? It has to do with their inborn temperament. Okay, and then personalities are shaped by their environments, by their experiences in life. And sometimes people begin to put these masks on. You have people that are very angry, So anger many times comes out of lack, comes from when they didn't get the attention they needed, comes from when they didn't have their needs met in childhood, just different types of things. Okay, and it's really, abuse. And so, we got a lot of dynamics that you need to know, and that's why we need to educate ourselves on things, especially if you are going to be a part of a team, if you're going to handle people, if you're in the people business, Brandon, you're in the people business, all of us are in the people business, so we ought to study people. Amen. But the most person we ought to know is ourselves, so that we don't try to impose ourselves on others. But a choleric, that's a very dominating person. Okay? Yeah, very dominating, very forward speaking. They say whatever they think. I mean, they just say it quickly. Okay? How do you handle a person like that? And can you tell everybody, well, they're choleric? Well, listen, because that's why you said something about communicating.
Right, yeah.
Many times we have staff meetings, we have team meetings. You should, okay. And I say in our staff meetings, okay, this is what I call it, the war zone.
Yes.
Honest, open, transparent. I don't like her.
Come on.
Why? Because she lied. Okay. Do you understand her? One of the 7 habits of highly effective people is seek to understand before wanting to be understood. Seek to understand before wanting to be understood. And many times our dislike of people or our inability to get along with others is because they have a different temperament. Sometimes they have different upbringing than us. Sometimes there are cultural differences. There are many different types of things. And we know the enemy will play off of anything that he could. Right now he plays off the race card. Okay, we all came from the same Father, the same God. But your lack of knowledge will cause you, because all of us bleed red.
Come on.
Okay,
right.
yeah, all of us bleed red. All of us got the same Spirit of God in us.
Amen.
But the way that you are raised, the things that you are taught, the experiences that you have, can cause you to be a hater of someone, dislike someone, feel that you are better than someone, whatever it may be. And that's all because of the personality, the person you have become, the personality you have become through your life's experiences or teaching. But God did not put that in you.
Thank you, Lord.
Okay? Choleric. Anybody know anybody who's choleric?
Oh, yes.
A dominating personality? You ever worked with anybody who had a dominating personality?
Yes.
How did you handle that person?
Initially, for me, at first, I just steered clear.
You steer clear?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Withdraw and retract. But then when I found out that I'm slightly choleric myself, I was like, oh, okay.
Oh, so you got a little bit in there of you too. And see, all of us have a mixture of these things. I've seen you be a little choleric at that. I know I can go choleric on you.
Yes.
Brandon, I believe you can go choleric. Flora, can you go a little choleric sometimes?
Yes.
I don't know.
Yes.
We got to ask your son. I'm going to call your husband.
Yeah, that's it.
Husband. Does Laura ever get a little dominated at times? Yeah, Pastor. Yeah.
And it's kind of like, how they say you can dish it, but you can't take it.
Uh-huh.
And so, when you start seeing other people do stuff and then it irritates you, you should put the mirror up. Because sometimes those things that irritates you because you do that too.
That's so good. You talked about a mirror. I'll tell you, because I think a lot of people don't put that mirror up. But I believe that every altercation, every falling out, every misunderstanding, every argument, everything, it's literally based on a misunderstanding. Like when you don't like somebody, you're at alt with somebody, there's people out here beefing and they don't even know each other really. It's just misunderstanding. They don't understand each other. So man, that's so, and if we would have put the mirror on ourselves, like I've had to, when I'm coaching and training people, I'll walk away from them and be like, man, what are they doing? Like, no, they ain't cut for it. But then I have to think back, like, okay, flip that mirror, G. What if it was you learning something new? for the first time, your first job, you know, whatever the case may be. We've been there, you know, and we get high and mighty sometimes when we've had a little success or when we accomplish certain things, but really, you know, you need to pull the reins back a little bit and remember where you came from, you know. And I think that when you look in the mirror and you say, okay, yeah, and when you be honest with your faults, you know, and be honest with, you know, what you struggle with, then that makes you a better leader because you can understand. You know, I've got an employee, he's doing something I taught him to do just 3 months ago that I've been doing for almost 7 years.
Wow.
You know what I mean? So I have to remember that when I'm teaching him something and he doesn't get it off the bat, or when he makes a mistake, you know.
And so that requires patience. Like God always gives us time and space in order to do things and to complete things and to let the word be established in us. And we have to do that for other people. Like you have to allow people time and space to understand, to get it, so that they can start putting those things into action and putting it into motion.
Well, this is where we start understanding dimensions of temperament, okay? And this is why you need to know yourself. I heard Gerald talk about a lot. You need to really know yourself, because an extrovert person, you know, they love to be around people. An introvert, they good with being by themselves. You know what I'm saying? You have some people, what you're trying to teach them, what they need to do in the workplace, they require a lot of interaction with people, and they don't do that well. You always find them in the back room folding napkins when they're supposed to be up front greeting people, and you're wondering, why is that? Why do you not stay up there? Okay, sometimes it has to do with their temperament, and you don't realize. Now you're ready to fire them, you're ready to do all of that, but they're really an introverted person, and you got them out front. So you need to be able to identify these things with people, and when you're building teams, you got an introverted person doing an extroverted job.
That's good, Bishop.
Okay,
That
you
is
need
so
to know
powerful.
that. Then you got someone that's task oriented. You're thinking, I'm trying to teach somebody this. You on task. I'm trying to teach you this. Okay, and now your temperament kicks in. Okay, and you forget being people oriented. Why can't you figure this out? But you went from being task oriented to people oriented. You said, okay, I've been doing this for 7 years. They've been doing this for 3 weeks, 3 months. Okay, so now you're going back to having compassion. Now you're going back to having patience. Now you're coming back to understanding and all those different types of things. Isn't that powerful? Yeah. And see, that's when the natural side of you starts to kick in. This is when you start getting frustrated. Now the other thing is, sometimes, you know, people do things quick. So you're a quick paced person.
Yes.
You don't like stuff slow moving.
Come on, help
You
him
got
to know.
quick pace, slow moving.
Yes.
I know this. I'm starting to realize.
You're like, slow down, G. Wait a minute.
Let's go. But you know, you have
I be trying to have a conversation with him, and he be walking off, and I be talking, and I be like,
well, come on, walk with me, man. Come on.
I was just gonna say that's so good, because you have, in the workplace, like, you have to know all of this stuff.
You do.
Like, you have to be able to recognize different people.
Yeah.
I'm the type of person, like, I don't know what it is about me, but I have to do one thing at a time.
Okay.
I don't need to be overloaded. I don't need any of that. Now I can do it, but the thing is I'm very efficient when I do one thing at a time.
Okay.
And so my boss, it's funny because he understands that now. At first, you know, he didn't get that about me. He would be like, hey, I need you to do this. I need you to help this person do this and do this. And I would just be like in my mind, I would be like, all right, well, I'm going to do it. But you got me all out here right now. But like now he knows, all right, B, I want you to do this right here. And when you get done, I'm going to tell you how to do this or do this. And it's so much more efficient.
Okay.
And so that's like in the workplace, you do got to understand how everybody around you reacts to things. It's very important.
But you know what, that's crazy, man? We were talking about introvert versus extrovert. I had a guy when I worked at Domino's and I was a general manager. Hired a guy, awesome at delivering, awesome at doing task work. If you put a list in front of him, boom, he don't knock it out. But when it came to helping you during a rush, get the phones, answer the phone, he back washing the dishes. And so after about a week of working with him, I said, you know, you finna come work with me, I'm gonna get you right. I realized I had to pull away. I said, man, why is it that when we're busy, you're back here worried about the dishes when this pizza's falling out the oven? He said, gee, me, honestly, I'm afraid of the phone.
Yep.
I don't,
wow.
because we used to have to say, wow.
It wasn't his personality.
And it wasn't
his temperament.
Now,
Wow.
the dude was my best driver. I mean, the best driver. Made great tips, was there and back, quick on the road and everything. But when it came to doing the inside with the phones and stuff, he wasn't for it. He back there, he just in the back hanging out by himself. I didn't have to worry about no boxes getting folded though, because he got you.
Yeah.
And so I had to realize, okay, you're not the driver I need to put on my lunch shift.
Right.
Because in the daytime, it was a manager and 2 drivers. Everybody got to pitch in and do everything on day shift. You going through $1,000 hour and you wonder where this guy at. It tends to ruffle your feathers a little bit.
Yeah.
You know, but when I put him on night shift, everything was done. The store performance got better as far as cleanliness and everything like that. So I just realized, okay, the phones wasn't his thing, but everything else he was cool with.
So one of the things you learned that made your team of 8 or 9 people, your staff, and running that store, which was a $1 million business,
Man, yeah.
okay, was getting the right people in the right place.
That's good.
Okay. And that's what happens when sometimes conflict is going on in the workplace. You got the wrong people
That's good. In the wrong place.
in the wrong place. Okay, but you got to get the right people in the right place, and you watch the whole dynamics change. Because you have people that have fears. You have people that they need a job, and they'll keep trying to do it, and you're setting them up to fail. You have them in a place that they cannot function well in. It's like telling a fish to walk down the street. Now, if he's trying to live, he's going to try to get up on them fins and do it. You know what I'm saying? If dying and living, you know, and a fish don't belong on land. It belongs in water.
Right.
But when you get that fish in that water, that fish will swim away.
Right.
It'll do what it does, man, and all of those types of things. It can breathe underwater. Now, if the fish say, well, why don't you come try to do what I do? You want me to do what you do? Why don't you come try to do what I do?
Right.
And you say, no, you stay over there, and I'm going to stay over here, and I'm going to do what I do, and you do what you do. And that way, there's no conflict, okay? And so all of these things are having these tools in the toolbox and teaching to teach, guys. When you see conflict, it's always a reason for that conflict. Always some misunderstanding. There's some information that hadn't been given. Lack of communication. That guy was awesome to tell you, Jim, I'm just going to be honest with you. I'm afraid of the phones. Man, your light came on.
Yeah.
You know, and you can get better and better at these things the more and more that you become aware of and you start watching for it.
Yeah.
Okay? You're like, oh, okay, that person's really an introvert. Oh, okay, that person's really task oriented. And when things aren't jumping and popping, it brings frustration to them. Okay? And you need to know that about
Leadership.
people.
I feel like leadership is really understanding people, and that's a huge thing. I would bump heads so many times, and sometimes it still happens because I'm very analytical too. So I'm the person that I need to know why it happens the way it does. I have to have a why.
Yeah.
And sometimes there could be an issue in certain areas, but in the workplace, it helps me to figure things out if I know why. And I had a manager that just, he felt like I was always questioning him and overstepping my boundaries and stuff because I was asking why. And it really became a problem, at a certain point.
Yeah.
But I had to finally sit down with him and communicate with him like Bishop was saying and let him know, like, hey, I'm not trying to overstep you or do anything, but why is how I learn.
Right.
Like the whole why thing, that's how I learn. And if you can help me understand why, then I'm going to be better at the situation the next time.
Right.
So leadership is understanding people.
It is, and it's influence, and that's, when I say influence, I mean getting the right people in the right place, encouraging someone to do something that they may not be accustomed to doing, but that the way they're wired, the way God made them, they will do a great job at it. They just may have never experienced it.
Right.
I've seen people just blossom. Put them in the right place, and you start discovering things about people you never thought. I took a gentleman who was really quiet, didn't talk that much. I took him into the prison with me to do ministry one time. I thought he was just hanging out, just going with us. Man, we asked them, would you just like to say a few words? They went in. They went in there, and I'm like, wow, I didn't know that was in there. But you put them in an environment that they felt comfortable, and not that they felt comfortable being in the prison, but I'm just saying talking to men. I said, wow, you really like talking to men. You really have a heart to see men do better and to be responsible, and you're sharing how God has helped you be better. And man, it was like he was on cloud nine.
Wow.
I'm like, man, go on, man. Go on and do that thing. So just knowing the temperaments and different things, and knowing whether a person's introverted or extroverted, know if they're task oriented or not, those types of things, know if they're quick paced or slow moving, okay? And also know if they're dominant or submissive, okay? Dominant or submissive. Do they need to be the boss? Do they need to be the boss, or would they prefer someone else to make the decisions? Okay, you start making someone who doesn't have that part of their temperament built up to have to make decisions. It's tough on them. They don't function well in those environments. Okay, and knowing that about people is amazing. So we introduced that first temperament, choleric. And we asked, did you know anybody who's dominant like that, and very task oriented? And I want to just share some things about that temperament, because I believe that marriages, I believe that different people in the workplace, teams in the workplace, job environments are highly dysfunctional because we don't understand some of these things. Okay? The choleric has great capacity to see the vision and undertake a new project. Okay? They're go-getters. Okay? And you want them corralled inside the four walls and all that, when that person needs to be, they're aggressive, so they need to make some things happen. Now, the other thing about a person that's choleric, and you got to watch this of a person that's a real go-getter, they'll burn out.
Yeah.
They'll burn out. And you need to know this about yourself. You need to know that, man, I'm going hard. I hear you say this word all the time. I've been going hard. You're going hard all this time because you have some of that choleric temperament in you. You need to know I need a rest. Otherwise, I will burn myself out. And when you start getting the burnout, you don't do well with people. You don't do well with people. You become short. You get frustrated, irritable, and all those things. And when you know this about people, you know that's their temperament, there's nothing wrong with saying, hey, you know what? Take the day off tomorrow. I'm serious. Take the day off tomorrow.
Yeah.
And you're talking about leadership, you're talking about management, and all those different types of things. Because if they're there and they're on the verge of burnout and they need to rest, what good are they going to be there tomorrow? What you're doing, you're paying them, and they are deterring some of your success. How many customers did I lose today because they irritated, frustrated, and burned out? How many deals didn't close today because they just threw their hands up and they didn't feel like dealing with it? They didn't feel like going the extra mile. Why don't you just take tomorrow?
Yeah, I thank God for one of my mentors. He's a mentor to me. I worked for him for 5 years when I was at Best Buy. I want to give him a shout out over the air. I'm sure he wouldn't mind, but I'm not gonna do it. But he recognized that about me. He knew that I would go hard, because that's one thing about me. When I worked for other people, I was trying to get it by any means necessary. So I was always driven by climbing the ladder. So I would try to perform at my best ability. But after a while, he would notice when I needed to take a break, because my sales, I had to sell. I was a salesman. I was a retail salesman. So my sales I wouldn't close as much, and it might be at the end of the month. At the end of a busy month where we've sold hundreds of phones, and then all of a sudden your number's slipping a little bit. Well, I might be a little cranky.
Right.
He throw me a Saturday off. And be like, what, G, take the Saturday off. Go keep it with your boys. Go do whatever. And I need you back here Monday, bright and early. So I thank God for him. And he also helped me to realize that for managing other people as well. So
That's good. Teaching to teach to teach.
that's right.
A lot of things are caught rather than taught.
Yeah.
And one thing I want to encourage everybody, those that are listening, pay attention. Pay attention to things. You know, that's why we got to have conversations. Again, conversations birth new seasons, everybody. And when you're just talking about something, sometimes you're helping a light come on in somebody else's life. Wow, that's what that was. You know, I didn't even realize that. And sometimes when you're observing and you know some of these things, you can help someone else to notice it as well. Okay. What they trying to do? They're trying to cut my schedule. They're trying to no. Do you not realize that you become less productive? And I take my hats off to your boy too, because he communicated with you. Hey, I noticed your numbers have gone down. I'm not penalizing you.
That's good.
Because one thing about a choleric, they'll feel penalized.
Mm-hmm.
He wasn't penalizing you, he was rewarding you.
Right.
Right.
Okay? And sometimes when you don't understand this, you'll take it as a negative. And then when y'all done gave these names out, some Sally and you know, all the names show up, you know, they find out that you're going to be off Saturday, and then they start showing and see, he just hating. He just hating on you. Crazy Christy show up, you know. He just wanted to give you, you know, a day off. Instead of it being positive enforcement, okay, they make it negative.
Right.
We have a caller.
Good afternoon, 95.1, you're on the air. Hello.
Thank you. We missed him.
Yeah.
Call back next time. We appreciate you, caller. We didn't get you in, or you may have called by mistake. But we're talking about choleric and a couple of things. The other thing I want you to know about a choleric is that the choleric need constant recognition for their accomplishments and will become angry if they don't get recognized.
I have a choleric. Like,
They have strong egos. They need to be told thank you.
Yes, I do. We appreciate you.
I appreciate you. You know, because
Thank
they
you.
listen, you didn't tell them thank you. They busted it yesterday. Nobody ever said thank you. They're coming the next day with an attitude. And nobody will know why they have an attitude.
Okay, I'm not clear.
I don't know if that's my dominant, but I'm very clear. 'Cause I used to, when I get the results, I want you to notice.
Hey man, did you see this?
Right.
Did you see this?
Oh, see, we got our folder now.
Right.
Seen that. I brought it in.
Did you see them sales?
Right.
What's up?
And we had the best day of the month today.
Right.
You was off. That's real.
Come on. Oh, wow. People out here.
Now, with that, the choleric can also be very personable. Okay, they can draw crowds. They can be motivational, inspirational. Okay, but they just, you know, the choleric. This is why you can have a blend of chlorsan, which is some choleric and some sanguine.
Mm-hmm.
Strong cholerics don't like people.
Wow.
But in social situations, they can be very people oriented. They can be friendly, optimistic, okay, and they're well liked. But if you rub the choleric the wrong way, come on, they don't like people like that. But they can be very personable, okay, and that's where you got to have a blend. There are very, very few people that are straight choleric. Okay, and we'll get a chance to kick that a little bit. This helping anybody? Because this it changed my life. Come on, Lord.
Laura was like, Stephanie, I am sanguine. I am sanguine choleric, and sometimes it'll flip depending on what role I'm doing and where I am and what I'm doing. G melancholy.
What is chloramel?
Yes,
What is
it is.
chloramel?
It's a blend of choleric and melancholy.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
All of us got a little of all of them in us: choleric, melancholy, sanguine, and phlegmatic. Okay. Before we end the show, because we'll talk about this some more next week, but a melancholy is a cautious person. They're task oriented and they're kind of on the introvert side. Okay. Where a choleric is dominating and they're extroverts, they're quick paced and dominant. Then you got the sanguine. Okay. This is called the disc system. Disc system. I'm sorry. DICS, I'm sorry. You have the sanguine. They're very inspiring, very people oriented. They would rather, you find them off somewhere talking to people when a task needs to be being done. And they're over there entertaining the people and just laugh and make sure everybody feel good. Do you need some cocoa? You know, everybody warm. You know, everybody okay.
Yeah.
Like, we got to get moving. We're about to miss the bus. You do know that. If we don't get the bus. So sanguines are inspiring and they're very people oriented. And, you know, then you have the phlegmatic, which is they're the slow, steady people. You know, they just slow and steady. Slow and steady. Everybody pouring their brain. Slow and steady. You know, they're people oriented. They're people oriented. Okay, but they just steady as she goes. Steady as she goes. Real submissive. You know, ain't gonna give you too much, you know, backlash and all of that. But just steady as she goes. See, you got a blend. Okay, you got a blend. Okay, you probably chlorflag. Okay. Yeah. And we're gonna get into some of those things, man. I'm telling you, this stuff changed. Come on. This is Life Christian University.
All right. Let me pull up that commercial. Make sure we play that for you guys so you'll know where this information is coming from.
You play that right now?
I will.
All right. And she missed a cue.
I did miss the cue.
She missed a cue, y'all. Missed it.
We'll get it though.
But yeah, we'll talk about these things and help you. And one book that goes along with this is Tim LaHaye, a book called Why I Behave the Way or Why Do I Do the Things That I Do?
Why do I act the way that I act?
Why do I act the way that I act? That's what it is. By Tim LaHaye. Okay, it's amazing because you start learning yourself. And when you learn yourself, you become better with others. Most people have struggles being around and interacting with other people because, like what you said, Gerald, at the beginning of the show, they don't know who they are. They don't know themselves. And once you know who you are, if you know your task oriented, you won't let, when the task isn't being done, frustrate you. You'll make an adjustment. You'll understand that, okay, I got to think what other people have to do, how they feel, and all those types of things. You just handle things a little different. Okay? Guys, this is our time.
Man, that was good.
This has been good, been fun. Okay? Give us your last statement on this. Just how do we handle things in the workplace? This is what we've been talking about. So give me your last closing statement, everybody, then we can get out of here today.
Well, my last closing statement is, is just come to understand, the differences in others. And just because you do the things differently doesn't mean that you can't have the same outcome. And I just want to use this as an example. Like, I love to read my Bible, but when my husband reads his Bible, he likes to listen to the Bible. But when we come together and we discuss the chapter that he listened to in the chapter that I read, even though I can see with my eyes, he still can point something out to me that I missed with my eyes that he heard with his ears.
Wow.
So it still doesn't mean that, just because we do it differently, that we can't get the same outcome.
Right. That's powerful.
Don't, so we don't have to be going around and judging people because their personal preference is different from ours.
Wow. That's good. Yeah, diversity embraces, unity achievement. Yeah.
I just want to say, as far as anybody that's dealing with people or working with people or leading people, we need to make sure that we're being a good steward over God's people.
Wow.
Because, and this is opening my eyes, but all people are different. People learn different. People grasp things different. People have different ways. And when you're dealing with those people, we need to make sure that we're being a good steward over God's people. Treat them the right way, not neglecting them because they might be different than you or comprehend different than you. Like, we need to love them and figure it out.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I would just say, seek more understanding. Seek to be understood before you seek to be heard. Uh, a lot of things can get accomplished just by trying to understand where the next person is coming from, even if you've never been down that walk of life, their road or whatever. If you can just get an understanding of where they're trying to go, what they're trying to say, what they're trying to do, the intentions, then I believe that the outcome can be a lot better. Even if you guys still don't agree on everything, at least you understand where they're coming from. So always seek to be understood or seek to understand before wanting to be heard. Because a lot of times we try to voice and yell and shout our opinions before we understand, what the real issue is. So definitely seek to understand.
Okay, we have a caller.
And if I won, you're on the air.
Yes, I don't have a statement of anything about what you're talking about, but I will say that I have been dealing with a situation on my job pertaining to some of the subjects that I'm talking about, and it just opened my eyes, gave me a kind of an answer to some of the questions that I've been dealing with. So I was just wanting y'all to know that I found this broadcasting may be helpful to me in a situation that I'm dealing with. That's all I wanted to say.
Wow.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Thank you so
awesome,
much.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you for listening. And
Yeah, have a blessed day.
okay.
You too.
Thank you.
You too. Thank you.
That's awesome.
That's
Thank you for
awesome.
listening.
Yeah.
Glory to God.
Telling us that. I'm glad we were able to help you.
That book I was telling you about is not an expensive book. You can get it on Amazon. It's called Why You Act the Way You Do. And it's by Tim LaHaye, just as you said, Monique. Why You Act the Way You Do. And it will just enlighten yourself, and also it'll help you, help somebody else and help you get along better in the workplaces, in family, even in your marriage, even relating with your children. Because your children, although they come from you, a lot of them, this is what I learned and through my education, is that many times we think our children are just like us, but sometimes the genes that they're operating in skipped a generation. They're more like their grandparent than they are you. And what's in the grandparent is affecting them more than your direct genes are. Okay, and so it's strange. And so anyway, when you begin learning those things, you can just help somebody and help yourself and cause relationships to be better. Okay, Monique, your last word.
I was just gonna say, don't be down on yourself. Don't be hard on yourself. We develop daily, so it's
That's
a
good.
process.
Amen.
We're not gonna learn how to treat everybody, all within one day. You become a student of life. So you'll continuously learn. You'll be in and out of situations, different environments. It'll help you learn people better. So just take that. Like the caller just said, there were some things that she was dealing with. Helped her. At work and stuff like that. And so the more you read, the more you learn, the more you interact with people, the more, you get better. So just know that you're going to develop daily. It's not all going to happen in one day. So be encouraged and keep going. Don't stop. Just keep going. Keep moving forward and you'll be good. I promise you.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Thank everybody today for all of your input, your experiences, your wisdom. Okay. And just wanted, like Monique said, just think. Learn, grow, okay, and then you begin to show. And if you make a mistake, it's nothing wrong with saying, "Hey, I'm sorry. I apologize."
Amen.
Okay, I apologize. Yesterday, it wasn't a good day for me. I can't put my finger on it, but can you forgive me? Because wealth is a byproduct of who you become, not what you can do.
Right.
And you need people in your life. Okay, you need your job. You need people that can help you along the way because I don't have everything that I need in me. But when I look at all of these guys, even us talking today, I didn't have all of those experiences in me. But together, we were able to accomplish something and help someone. And we pray that we help many, okay? So just want to encourage you, again, we've been talking about how to get along in the workplace, conflict resolution, all those type of things. We're going to deal with it some more, going into different temperaments so you can understand yourself and understand others. Remember, conversations, birth and seasons. And that's it for Life Lessons Live, Let's Talk Edition. Thank the crew for being with us. And you can go out on YouTube, Gerald Patterson, Life Lessons, and you can see all of our recorded shows and video footage is coming soon. God bless you. Have a great evening and a great night. Well, one of you guys pray real quick and we off of here.
Father God, thank you for the great outpour of your spirit on today, Lord. Thank you for the many souls that was blessed by this show, Father God. And I pray, Father God, as we continue to come together in unity, Lord, that we will continue to draw your people unto you, Lord. And we just tell you thank you in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. God bless you.